All right, I'm delighted to say that joining us now on the NFL show ahead of Monday Night Football, a huge game live and exclusive on the talkSPORT network between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Kansas City Chiefs. A fourth-year linebacker out of Wisconsin, a two-time Super Bowl champion, and the first man to pick off Lamar Jackson this season. Leo Chenal is with us. Leo, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Yeah, thanks for having me.
I think the last time you and I spoke was on the field in New Orleans ahead of that game. So, obviously not the result you wanted that week, but reflecting on that last kind of 8 or so months for you, where do you feel like you are right now?
I feel good. Obviously not in a great mental space right after the game. And, I feel like myself as well with the team, like we moved on, pretty quick. And, we just feel like we're in a good mental space going through training camp. We worked hard, had some tough, hot, humid days. So, we're definitely like a close, well-trained team. So, I feel great personally and, we feel good right now.
Does all that get easier going into year 4? Like you've learned the ropes a little bit?
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially like training camp. It's obviously dreadful, but you have fun, and it goes by really like quicker every single year, I think.
Right, let's talk about the play because I mentioned it right at the top. The one-handed grab from Lamar Jackson. Tell us what you saw on that play, how that came together, and how you ended up coming down with the ball.
Yeah, so it was like a one-time called play, and we hadn't run it like at all that year or this season. So we've been practicing it a little bit here, and obviously got a game ready, and every single guy did their job. Drew hit it. We had good contain. Bolton went up the middle, had good pressure. He was going crazy on pressures all night, like pressuring Lamar, and Lamar is the best escape artist in the league. All week leading up to it, we talk about plastering to our guy, because especially Lamar, like he'll make plays out of nothing. Downs will be extended. So the big thing is just staying with your guys, having good eyes. And, it's something I rarely do, be able to turn around and make a play on the ball. And I was kind of surprised myself. So, yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, I noted down. I mean, Nick's contribution obviously huge to the play. Like, it's brilliantly athletic from you. You get your head around, you make the play you need to make. But yeah, Lamar is rarely knocked off his spot like that. And when he saw Nick Bolton coming downhill at him, like you could see that threw him, right?
Oh yeah, that's a scary sight. That dude's when he gets going, man, he really hits. So scary for anybody.
For you guys, where you were in the season, and I'm not going to say that's a play that turned the whole season around or anything, but you 1 or 2 going into that game, a huge amount of focus on 2 kind of Super Bowl favorites going in with a losing record. And they're 7-3 up. They're driving to potentially go up double digits. So, like, how much does a play like that help kickstart your defense, help set some tone for what's going to happen going forward?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that first drive didn't go as we planned. They struck pretty fast. So, like we just needed something to like get a little spark going, and it just happened to, go my way. And, I was just glad to be able to take advantage of that opportunity because, it gets everybody fired up, when you're able to make a play, both sides, like offense, defense, and special teams as well. So everybody's fired up on the sideline, gives kind of a fresh breath of like, all right, we can calm down and just get things going again.
Has there been a different feeling around the camp, a different feeling from Coach Reid and from Spags having like got that off the back and now going into this week?
Can you repeat that?
Just has there been just a bit of a different feeling around the camp now? You're back at 500. You've got 2 huge games ahead of you in the Jags and the Lions. Like, but has there been a bit of a more positive feeling maybe around camp off the back of such a great win?
I mean, I feel like that's what makes our guys, our culture so great. We had this like positive feeling. It's the guys are never panicking here. That's what's kind of cool to see. We treat every game just like the last or the next, and it's pretty cool. And obviously we get excited and motivated. We can stack turnovers coming in bunches. We want to keep that going, and being able to put it together in all 3 phases definitely feels good. And so, I mean, I think that naturally, gives us a little boost, but, I just respect so much how our guys handle it no matter, the result of the game.
How does Coach Reid handle it in particular, I wonder? Because for you, those first 3 years, going to the Super Bowl every time, like, the NFL's not easy, but you must be feeling like it's a little easier than maybe some do. Like, have you seen a difference in the messaging? Have you seen a difference in the approach? Like, in the way that they have been trying to motivate you with a difficult start to the year?
I think apparently wasn't enough with the two losses, but it's just looking back on the ending of last season and the feeling even of those first two games, just knowing that alone, like we don't need the extra words, just the feeling of like, all right, like we can be better here, and we're men, like we're gonna get pissed off, when we do bad, and so every single guy has that, and we hold each other accountable really well, is what I think works.
Who are the people, who are those leaders in the defensive locker room who are holding you guys accountable and making the noise?
Yeah, I mean, Nick Bolton is like the obvious answer, especially, for all guys, the general defense. And obviously Chris Jones gets his guys going and he's passionate. So, I mean, Nick is kind of the ultimate, like level-headed, knowing everybody's jobs, knowing kind of each individual person, how they respond to different, words and tempo of voice. He knows dudes inside and out. So, he's definitely the leader.
Love that. Just looking forward to this Jacksonville game. They've run the ball really well so far this year. Like, it's been the one part of their offense which has been really consistent. And for you guys at the moment, maybe not up to the high standards that we always expect from the Chiefs. So what are you guys working on to make sure that run defense is as solid as possible?
Yeah, I mean, you hit it. The run defense is going to be a huge thing. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence is doing well too. But, ETN, I think, is averaging almost 6 yards a carry, maybe more. He does really well bouncing outside too, and finding the jump cut up the middle. So it's just doing our fundamentals, because all it really takes for a play to go south is just one single guy having a little bit bad technique. So it's just getting guys all on the same page and just trusting each other, and especially like I said, this team, they'll bounce it outside even if you set a decent edge. So it's just honing in on those things.
There was one play in the run game last week I wanted to mention where you're kind of standing up as a one tech and you get double teamed and manage to shed the center off. You knew exactly which play I was going to ask about. I saw the little smile on your face then, and hit the guy just as he's hitting the hole. And again, it comes back to me for that, you come across super strong on film. Like, that's impressive how strong that was. But again, it's back to tone setting, right? Like, making a big play like that can make a huge difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's an honor being able to be in that position in the first place. Coach Spags trust me to be in that position, on third and short. So, just being able to do my job takes reps from practice, as best as I can. But yeah, I mean, on that play, man, I respected the D lineman, because that running back had a full head of steam after I shed, and I was like, oh dang. So I didn't get to stop on it. But, things to get better
Going down and just giving them that little extra respect heading back in. On the interception, obviously going up against Mark Andrews, one of the great pass catching tight ends in this league, but you go up against a guy pretty much week in, week out in practice who gives you some decent practice there. So how much is going up against a guy like Travis Kelce help you and the other guys in your unit when it comes to covering guys like that over the middle?
I mean, it's huge. Just the way Travis maneuvers his body, it's hard to guess or anticipate where he's going to break. The way he does things and sees different coverages and where to go. So I mean, mine was pretty straightforward. My play is just plastering my guy and getting my eyes around. But huge respect to Mark Andrews. He's well trusted, on that team. So yeah, huge respect to him.
Just tell us a little bit about what you are seeing from the offense this year. Obviously, you've got Rashee Rice to come back in the coming weeks, Xavier Worthy back in that lineup. How big is that going to be, having those two guys back for the unit that you're seeing day in, day out?
No, it's big. Rashee is not only just on the field, with his skill and his smarts and everything. It's energy. He brings a good positive energy to the team, and those guys just get together so well and get along so well. It's a cool thing to see, and when you see that as a defensive guys, and your guys vibing, and it gets a certain thing going. So when those guys are all healthy and having fun, everybody has fun.
And then for a guy, you've kind of been in this league now 4 years, but what do you see from Pat Mahomes in year 9 as a leader, as a guy who, is the face of that franchise and has that weight on his shoulders at all times when things aren't going so necessarily so well, and is expected to lift it up?
Yeah, I mean, he's someone who has super high standards. when he feels like they didn't play well, like he's getting on his guys, he's getting on himself, and that's the big thing with him is he's always first to point himself out where he needs to be better, and he makes a very good point of that, and to never throw anybody under the bus and just take accountability with himself first. And he's constantly making plays in wins or losses. So you just see that as us, sometimes role players, guys, not contributing as much, whatever it is. You see a leader like that who is capable of doing what he does. Just being accountable and humble, and it really inspires us as a team.
And what about for you, going into the final year of this rookie deal? How are you approaching this season any differently maybe than you have before? I know you said it still sucks, but it's getting easier in training camp. But for you personally, how are you in the headspace of this season?
I'm feeling good. It's just trying to do my job as best I can. It's easy to get distracted by what's going to happen after this year, and even my wife is telling me like, oh, what's going on, and I'm just doing my best to stay focused on winning the next game. I think it's a easy temptation to, oh man, I need to make these plays, I need to do this or that, and really just do the stuff that Coach Spags, Coach Daly trust me in doing, and I'll be all right.
And the final thing from me, just because you are the king of the blocked kick, Super Bowl 40, Super Bowl against the 59, sorry, against the Niners, the big one against Denver last year. We've seen some massive ones around the league this year. So, what is it about that play? What is it that gets people so hyped? And are we seeing it maybe some new fun wrinkles being thrown at it, some new special team stuff that we're seeing that we've not seen before?
It is crazy what's going on. Like I was just telling, my family, it's like there's more block kicks in like the first 4 games of this season than the combined like last 3 years. It seems like, guys just getting pressure. And the reason it's so big is because, you get a 45-yard kick, like 90% of the time plus like a kicker's going to make that. So everybody's like, all right, good job defense. We held them to 3 points. That's kind of the feeling. But then when somebody makes a play on it, and then when you get the Eagles, they scoop and score it, such a game changing capability play, just like momentum shift. It's anytime you can make a play on special teams. A lot of people kind of throw that to the side. I'm like, all right, we're getting the ball at the 30-yard line. Or so if you go down and score, get down to this 50-yard line, like it's huge.
I love it. Look, we really appreciate your time, Leo. Really fantastic stuff. As always, best of luck for this Monday against the Jags and going forward for the rest of this season. And, hopefully, like we say, that was a tone setter last weekend against the Ravens, and it's onwards and upwards.
All right. Thank you so much.